Hello, hi, it's Jon Binnie. I'm driving my moto and today I'm going to talk about creating flexibility in your dream life, your dream working week, your weekly schedule. And first of all, I am driving across a roundabout and it's really busy, so I'm just going to wait a minute and give you a bit of a view. I'm heading up to do some filming now at Roslin Glen, the magical Roslin Glen, just to the south of Edinburgh in Scotland. And it's a very magical location. I'm going with Natasha Rocha and we're off to record our second video in a series there. We loved it so much. We're like, we're going back. So we already have the third one scheduled as well, so really excited for that. So I'd also like to thank those of you who, well, thank you for all your love and support and for commenting on my videos. I greatly appreciate you. And this video is inspired, or should I say prompted by one of you who are asking about the flexibility of the schedule that I proposed in the first episode of my Heart Aligned Business Alchemy workshops. They're every 2 weeks on YouTube, and they've now been subsumed, so incorporated into a new show with Chloe Rose. So keep an eye out for those. You'll still see them in the Heart Aligned Business Alchemy playlist. The subjects will be just as good, if not better, and more expansive with the wonderful Chloe Rose of Mystic Hearts. Now, it is about a 40-minute drive, and the air is already drying here, so I'm just opening up a can of healthy drinking driving juice. To quench my thrapple, as they say in Scotland. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of a summary about what I present in the first video of the Heart Aligned Business Alchemy. And maybe I'll add this video as like a kind of optional second follow-up to it. So first of all, the video talks about getting really clear and crisp on your vision. Like, what is it you want out of your dream business? And what is it you want out of your dream life? And if you're like me and you work for yourself, and this also applies to many of us working in companies, it may also work well, I don't know yet, but it may also work well, or at least resonate with themes in semi-retirement and retirement. And I can come on to more of that as we go through it. And if I remember, I'll tell you about a dream I had about going back to work in my software career, which is really funny. And because it's funny for me because it brought up this same working week schedule, like my ideal working week. So I get really clear on what is it you want to do. My mission in my business is, and this is really my life purpose, is all about helping rebalance darkness and light here on planet Earth, to help with all of you beautiful people that are going through your spiritual awakening journeys, to help support you develop your physical and metaphysical, your psychic abilities, support you on your life journeys, and to help co-create a world together of free will, equality, abundance for all, forgiveness, love, compassion, and so much more. So on this journey, and the reason I say all this, right? Why do I always go on and on and on about having a clear business mission, for example. I do it because if you don't know what you want, at least out of your business, then it's going to make everything much harder, right? Because there'll always be a, well, that's not good enough for this scenario, that's not good enough for that scenario. You know, it's not earning enough money, or it's earning too much money but I don't have enough time to do anything else, and all the infinite variations thereof. And it's the same with our lives. So having a clear enough vision of what you want out of your life, your dream life, because I see the kind of overarching concept is your dream life, and your dream job or your dream business is part of it, right? So for me, doing what we're doing right now, going on adventures, going on camping adventures, spending time with my wife, my 2 kids, Patch, our dog, relaxing time, rest time, just doing magical things on and off camera, right? And not everything I do in my life is on camera, believe it or not. And also balancing, like reaching this perfect balance, a balance that I've never had, nor did I ever believe it was possible, right? So once you get clear on the mission for your business, the dream life vision that you have, and just start by writing down. You know, the really simplest practice is place your left hand on your heart. So if you're right-handed, place your left hand on your heart, your right hand, write out your dream business in 2 or 3 sentences. Write out your dream life in 2 or 3 sentences. And don't worry if it isn't enough sentences. Don't worry if it's not, you know, it's not enough. It's an amazing starting point. And you know what? The process of writing it down really makes you think, because this is you enacting, celebrating, executing your free will, our highest top priority universal law, and there you are doing it. You're doing it, right? And forget about, you know, when you're writing it, forget about all the nonsense about what we're taught, right? We're taught that you must have a 9-to-5 job. You're not going to earn money doing the things you enjoy. No one earns money doing that. You're not very good at that. What makes you think you're good at that? Why don't you just work a 9-to-5 job just like everyone else? These are the thoughts that either have gone on in my head since I left my software career 26 years, or some of those I've even heard from other people. So, and interestingly, it's not you guys. It's not in comments, which is lovely. Okay, so once you get clear on your dream life, your dream business. I think I'm going to sneeze, and there's no way I could edit this out, nor would I remember to edit out. Excuse me. I can only apologize. I tried to cover the microphone. I don't know if it actually helped. Okay. So, I must admit, the camper van and my motorhome's struggling to keep speed going. It's very windy just now. Up a hill, it's like driving a big brick into the wind. The good news is the van behind me seems to be struggling just as much in the wind. Okay, so then, you know, suspend, and this might seem, you know, unusual to you, unusual advice. Suspend any belief about whether you're going to earn money or not going to earn money, about how much money you're going to earn or not, because the strangest thing is, right, you might find, for example, like me, that you write your dream life, your dream business, and you don't even mention money. You might, if you remember, to put in something like abundance of time, energy, health. You know, you need your health first, right? Because if it doesn't matter how rich you are, money's no good when you're dead, right? Or it doesn't matter how rich you are if you can't share those experiences with people you love and that they love you back, then it's not a very happy existence, right? And if you earn lots of money, you don't have the time, so you might have the health, you might even have the happiness, but you don't have the time to enjoy it. Well, that's not very good either. And I'm 50 this year, in December, and I'm also of an age, I'm of an age where I'm realizing, you know, I've at least passed, I mean, I know some people call it like level 49, level 50, etc. for your years of age. For me, I'm also realizing that I've absolutely passed the halfway point. I mean, living to 100 would be great fun, I think. I don't know. Depends how happy and healthy I am, right? Okay, so there's some big foundations to just reflect on, but please don't obsess. If you start thinking about, oh, but I need to earn £10,000 or dollars a year, or 20,000, or 100,000, or 500,000, or a million, or whatever, it's not going to help at this stage of figuring out what you really want and how you want to live. Just imagine for a moment that simply by choosing what you really want in your life and opening up your heart, so not being fearful and opening up your heart to the potential and very real magic of this universe, that you're going to receive whatever it is you desire magically. No one else has done it before, no one else has been you before, no one's done exactly what you've done before, no one has your superpowers, right? We're all unique, we all have beautiful, unique journeys and experiences, and yours is no exception to uniqueness. I guess that means we're all an exception. You get the idea. Okay. So what I show in the Heart Aligned Business Alchemy is imagine a sheet, so it's like a spreadsheet, right? It's a Google sheet. And you can do this in editing, you do it on paper as well. It's dead easy. And what you do is you make some really simple decisions. So just start with 7 days, right? And imagine this 7 days is fun, it's enjoyable. I mean, it's your dream life, right? So you get to choose what you're doing in the 7 days. And it is sustainable, it keeps you happy and healthy. It's the kind of 7 days that has this perfect balance of resting, receiving, productivity, and flexibility. And that you don't really feel like you need holidays much, but you do them anyway because you think holidays are great fun too, right? So on top of this, you can still have your holidays, right? And by holidays I mean vacations. You can book time off and do what you want. Now, please also suspend belief about whether you're working for a company, whether you're starting your own company, or whether you are semi-retired, retired, financially independent, however you identify financially and employment status-wise. So just be open to, really any possibility, because one way of describing this journey to yourself is, well, what if I decide on all these things, right? And that I'm about to decide about the days, the hours I work, etc. But it doesn't align with what I'm doing at the moment. What do I do? Well, that's good, right? Because, and it likely won't align, right? But what it will do is it'll inspire you to have actions, to take action, to do things. Even if you just do one thing each day on your journey to your dream life, your dream business, your weekly working pattern. Okay. So let's I don't have your examples, right? So I'm just going to talk about mine. My past used to be, so in 26 years of software, the last 8 years was at Amazon. I was a senior software manager. When I worked full-time, I would work, 8 in the morning till about 8 at night. So about 11 or 12 hours a day. Didn't really take much time for lunch. So 11 or 12 hours a day, Monday to Friday. And I was burning out pretty fast. If you don't know about Amazon, the headquarters are not in Scotland. They're over on the west coast of the US. 8-hour time difference, put a lot of pressure on evenings, evening meetings, and really required a lot of strong boundaries even to just survive, right? Okay. And I was on the edge of burnout after doing that for 4 years. 6 years. So then I decided I would go part-time. Super controversial, especially as a senior manager. And I knew that it was really it would be a massive career limiting move, right? And I was like, I don't care. What use is a career if I'm off sick? And that's how I felt. I was about to go off sick long term for something. I didn't know what it would be, but I just felt terrible. My heart, my chest, my body were just constantly in a fight or flight and suffering. So I went part-time, dropped my income by 40%. It's still a really high income, and worked 3 days a week for the last 2 years. And that caused some of the great benefits were I'd work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I would have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, which was amazing, and I didn't have to go to any meetings, I didn't have to do any work then. What it did do for me is massively escalate my work fear. So every week I go through this massive roller coaster of, oh, they're gonna fire me, and I need to be like all rested and ready for Tuesday morning when I go to the office, and I'm gonna experience this deluge of overwhelm of people problems and projects having problems. Even though I'd only been at the office for 2 working days, all hell would break loose every week. So that was constant for me, and it was initially people were a little bit accommodating, and then over time those accommodations gradually disappeared. And it's just like, so one of my coping mechanisms was just to work really hard, like at least 12 hours every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then kind of Friday would recover, and then I would try and enjoy my life Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday was filled with work fear, and so on, and so the cycle would continue. Anywho, I decided to leave my corporate job on May 31st, 2024. I started my own business. So it's not long till May. We're in March. What are we now, 24th, 25th? So it's not that long until 2 years of running my own business. And I wish I had known this when I started my business, is that the first thing I realized is I didn't want to burn myself out, because I'd experienced that, right? And I wanted to get the right balance, because I knew that the work I do, primarily quantum psychic readings, healings, and clearings, that work is tiring, and it's tiring in a different way. It's like, it's emotionally tiring. I absolutely love it. But I love it even more when I have the right balance in a week. And each session is so much more energized and a much better experience for my clients when I'm not overworking myself. And if you're anything like me, and you've struggled with feelings of lack of abundance, it's a fear, right? Fear of lack of abundance, lack of money, lack of stability. Throwing yourself into working for yourself is like the greatest leap into that lack, into that fear mindset, right? And frankly speaking, in the first 6 months of my business, there was lots of conversations, and with my wonderful wife, who's always been incredibly supportive. But there were conversations about, how viable, how sustainable is this work? What is the direction going well? Will I be able to continue to be the main wage earner for the family? Would I have to go and get another job of some kind? Like all these things were parts of those first 6 months. However, what I did experience was I went through a period of picking up loads of new work, which is amazing. So I got like literally hundreds of clients in about month 7 or 8. And I suddenly got bookings, and initially my reaction was, oh, just take all the bookings, right? And I just factored in, I thought I could do about 4 sessions a day, 6 days a week. And that was just exhausting. And it was leading me on a path back to burnout. It's like, no, I just left Amazon to have freedom and to help serve the planet, not damage the planet. And I don't want to burn myself out. I'm only just getting started. So what I began doing was, and a lot of this also, remember I mentioned Chloe Rose. Chloe was also my, or I should say, one of my first business mentees. And we've shared this publicly, right? So I know Chloe's more than happy for me to share it. But fairly early on, certainly the first third of the couple of weeks I was mentoring her, we came across this challenge with her work schedule. And there was some work she was still doing with yoga clients, and then there was these new bookings to take on for new services, which is more similar, not identical, more similar to the work I do, such as her quantum energy expansion system service, a one-to-one quantum energy expansion or soul expansion. They're just incredible. And she also does witch wound, like past life healings. I highly recommend Chloe, and I often go to her. She's my go-to for past lives for sure. And there's public videos of me in the sessions, some of the sessions that we've done that she's done for me. Okay. The next aspect is start to think about some of the themes that you want to do in a day, right, during the 7 days. So, I realized when I was working 6 days a week, clearly things were out of balance. When I was working with Chloe, we really wanted to get the right balance for her, and knew that some stuff had to be let go and some things had to be opened up. So I knew, first of all, I wanted Saturdays and Sundays off. That's just part of my dream life. Good news, right? So that's 2 of the 7 days decided. Great, done. I also learned that, at least for now in my life, I love Fridays off, because my wife and son, and also daughter, she's at uni, we all enjoy, like the schools here in Scotland finish at half day on a Friday, so they work a bit longer during the week, and then they half day on Friday. And I absolutely love it. It feels like such a luxury. We often go out for like a bargain lunch on a Friday. So it's like, I definitely want Friday off, or at very least Friday afternoon. And Friday morning for me is chores day, so that's my cleaning, polishing, hoovering, tidying, cut the grass, all the things, right? Not all the things. My wife does an incredible amount, and more than me. And since we downsized our house, all that stuff I just described is much quicker. I think it used to take about twice as long in a 6-bedroom house about 3.5 years ago. Now we're in a 4-bedroom house. so happy we downsized, we right-sized to what we really need. Everything's so much faster. So that's great. And then that leaves Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I thought, well, I'd quite like to, and this evolved over time, I really wanted to open up Monday mornings, because what if I wanted to stay overnight somewhere on a Sunday night? Because I absolutely love camping. That's part of my dream life. Here I am in my motorhome, going on an adventure. So that was a big thing. And that's exactly what I did. I started to, now I can't remember the version that I shared on the Heart Aligned Business Alchemy episode, the first one. I'm not sure what it does on Monday, but now, I can only really talk about right now, from my clearest memory, is that now Monday mornings are pretty much free for me. And I gave myself this theme that was, well, I'm a morning person. I'm also a kind of Monday person, like my productivity peaks. So for creating things, for creating training content, etc., I put Mondays aside until I do a live stream when North America, when the continent wakes up, and where many of you are, not all, right? I know there's many of you from around the world, including Australia, the UK, Scotland even. And wow, it's so windy. Feeling the motorhome being pushed around. So yeah, that really helped with Monday. So nothing fixed, right? And I've really cleared out Monday, so there's no regular things I have to do. I do a short video for about 30 minutes every Monday morning doing psychic, it's actually Heart Aligned business mentoring for a small group of about 4 individuals, 4 members. That I just tag that on to the end of my music that I do on a Monday morning, and so that's it. And then I'm free really until about 4:10 to 10 past 4 in the afternoon, which is when I then have to go on and I go on and do my live stream with the incredible Viviane Heller. Tuesday, what I've done is I've allowed booking. So I got really clear with my booking system. First of all, I worked out what I wanted and then figured out how to do this in my booking system. Tuesdays is my morning for in-person sessions, which I mainly do from my home, and that includes psychic reflexology, psychic Swedish massage, psychic Indian head massage, and also just in-person quantum psychic healing sessions. Or someone can book me online at that time, so I do like a 10 a.m. UK time on a Tuesday morning. And then I also have a Tuesday afternoon task, and this is flexible, so anything that's fixed, like a client session, like 10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, I mark in red, right? So I don't allow those to be flexible. And what that allows you to do is, because it's a fixed pattern for me, you can, listen to me, you can book yourself for, you can book in sessions for months and months, up to a year in advance, right? Now, the good thing is that right now we're in March 24th or 5th or something, I can't remember the exact date, and you have me booked out to something like the 10th of September 10th, which is amazing. And I just keep an eye on that all the time. I just think, well, if I want to change something about 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, then I would, if I change it now, it'll have an effect from in September's booking onwards. And then for Tuesday afternoon, I also have another session, and I do a live stream. Now the Spiritual Awakening live streams with the incredible Chloe Rose. So do come along to those. We had a lot of fun yesterday visiting a 5D Ascension. It's like the 5D Ascension task, if you like, as part of the Spiritual Awakening live stream, we visited a Galactic Federation ship, Celeste, and it was amazing. We got messages for humanity and so much more. Please do check it out. You'll see it. It was shared again on the posts page, and it's also in the replays section of my YouTube channel. So the live replays. Wow, look at the traffic on the right. They are in for a big wait. I'm kind of a little bit jealous because I'm really early. I'm about almost 40 minutes early. I guess that's good news. I can just turn up and keep talking to you. Okay, so that's Tuesday. So I've got about 3 hours of psychic work. 2 client sessions, 1 live stream, and then I also write my weekly newsletter. Still 2 years on, I almost called it a weekly report, a newsletter, and it's really like an email pulse to keep you up to date with what's going on. And yeah, some of you do buy my services through it, so thank you so much. So I always enjoy writing them, and it's worthwhile doing them in every dimension. Wednesday mornings I used to keep free for a live stream with Natasha Rocha, or if we weren't doing one, someone else could book me in for a podcast. And I just felt in the last couple of months, Natasha and I agreed. It was instigated by me, but Natasha's very gracefully and beautifully come along the journey. Is I felt that really I need to do more of this. I need to get out more, right? I need to get out of hermit mode. I need to do things in person and do things outside. So bought a waterproof camera, and are now out and about. And today's an example. So today is Wednesday morning, and I'm not going down there. Natasha and I are doing in-person filming instead of a podcast, and that's so much more fun. And what Natasha and I do is every time we meet, we just meet and agree the next date. We just put it in our calendars. So, we're not always going to be meeting every Tuesday. Sorry, we're not going to meet every Wednesday, but just when at a cadence that feels right for us. I suspect 2 or 3 times a month. So that's a lot of fun. And when I don't have anything booked, I take the time off to rest, right? Because if you can't tell, some of my tendencies are hyperproductivity. So that would be a morning, and then the afternoon I would do 1 client session and run my training course. And so they're the higher self advanced, which I just finished. So next class is the intermediate, and then after that the foundation. It's so funny. So yeah, in May the higher self intermediate training starts, and in end of July is when the higher self foundational training starts. And that runs till, usually the training runs, it's either like something like 4 to 6. I think this next training class is later because I'm doing several weeks of mentoring for a client, which is a lot of fun. So I'm just doing it after that. I think it's like a 6, 7 series of mentoring sessions. They're all on the booking page of my website, jonbinnie.com, if you're interested in those services. Okay, and then Thursday, Thursday morning, depending on the week of the month, I have like an optional task for doing a monthly meet with my accountant, Joanna, who does my books for me, and she's brilliant and gives incredible business advice and does my taxes and all kinds of stuff. So that's about an hour once a month. I also do a monthly reflections video where I keep going in the wrong lane here. I keep getting, it's IKEA. It keeps dragging me down to the left. So I don't have any choice but to go via IKEA. You just can't change lane to the right here. And a U-turn in a motorhome, just unnecessary risk. And I've got loads of time. So yeah, Thursday mornings is either a client session or it's like one of these, at the end of the month, it's different tasks for, I also do my monthly business expenses. Like, so this driving journey, for example, in the UK, I can claim some money back for the driving. So I'll be taking a note of all those. I just look at my calendar and figure out where I've been driving and work out all the destinations, and you get it's actually, you don't get money back. Sorry, you don't get any money for it, right? You don't get money for driving. You get tax relief on it, so I don't have to pay income tax or corporation tax on corporation tax for just the company of one of Jon Binnie. As much as a farce that is. Okay. And then Thursday afternoon, I'll have a client session, and then I'll have a live stream. And then I'm done through to, the same pattern starts again on the Monday morning, right? So that's my working week. So really, and it's still true for now, and this is true till about mid-May or so, my work is concentrated, my client sessions, so the immovable stuff is around Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I realize that's really good because I need, you heard me say things like 10 a.m. session and then a 3, like a 2, 3 or 4 p.m. session. I can't remember the evening sessions, and some later. Those client sessions give me enough psychic rest in between to do a great job for my next client. And I did all this. I just want to remind you about money, right? I work all this out without paying any attention to the money, because it's not that hard. You could look at what I just told you, and you could look at the prices that I charge on my website, and you could hear one of my other videos that says something like my business costs are around £1,000 per month. So you could work all the things out and maybe do some rough estimations. Well, simply about half of what I earn goes to the UK government in taxes, right? So what comes into my company, and then the remaining half I get, and I have to pay tax on it, personal tax on it too. So yeah, that's kind of crazy. However, once I figured out like a good pattern, I was like, yeah, this is good. And I was able to give a bit of a forecast about money, and that felt good too. But it was never a goal, and I still, to this day, do not have a financial goal. I have emotions about money for sure. I have and the income each month goes up and down. However, in addition to that, I also feel incredibly blessed that you guys have booked me for months, right? I just feel it's such an honor to receive your bookings and for such a long period in advance. Okay, this is a bumpy road, so this is us heading up to Roslin now. We're just heading south of Edinburgh. So I wanted to spend more time in this video I'm only 3 minutes away. I'd like to also just talk a bit about flexibility, right? Because what I found was, doing what I just described for often 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks at a time, that I still felt quite drained. And some of the missing parts in what I've just described is that I create a lot of content. I love it. You could also say I'm addicted to it, right? I love doing my Highest Jon videos, which are 1-minute videos each morning. They're my morning meditation messages. I love creating songs almost every day. I didn't do one today because I thought, hey Jon, be flexible, be agile. So I didn't do one today. But it is the norm for me to write a song each day. And then I also do videos like this where I'm just going on adventures, and which I love. And to be honest, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would so love meeting with a friend and just going, like, being like kids and wandering around this fifth dimensional feeling we have whenever we come to Roslyn, what it ignites within us. And there's so many magical places in this world to visit, right? You don't just need to be in Scotland. Yeah, so I started to realize I wanted to change it. So I started to reduce my available booking sessions. I also reduced so went from about 5 or 6 to 4 or 5 a week. And it might not seem like 1 or 2 in a week might not seem like huge to you. Like, oh, Jon, that's only 1 or 2 hours. But actually, there's a lot of preparation and recovery time for each. And so I wanted to really balance those out. And plus, a really important thing to consider about your perfect working week is that what happens when things go wrong? What happens when you need some contingency? And that's so important, right? Because life happens, and flexibility is so important. One thing I did was there's a big smile from the lady at the end. One thing I did was, this is great. They have motorhome parking. It's so cool. Motorhomes to the left. They were working on this. Look at this, it's empty. It's so cool. And I get to face the Roslyn Chapel as I'm chatting with you. I can easily, it's free, and I'd happily work here all day. So yeah, I've done things like when the week was filled with client bookings, but an opportunity came up to go drive down south to meet my friends Scott, MJ, Leah, Chloe, and others. I was like, I'm just going to do it, right? And so what I did was I swapped bookings around, and most of them I did earlier. So that was really awesome. You might have noticed we've stopped driving. Can I turn you guys to the left? Oh, that's the wrong way. Let me see if I can turn you over. Slowly panning to the left. My guess is that you're seeing, if you can see the coach. Can you guys see it? Yeah, you can see the house. So you can see the house just up to the left of that. Let's turn you a bit more. It's not turning anymore. It's like you're a gimbal system. You'll go like all the directions. What a big coach has just turned up. Ah! So, there's lots of school kids. And I'll just, just to describe a bit more about flexibility, it was so cool because what I could do is I could, you are my customers and I just need to talk to you if I want to change my pattern, right? Or in other cases, I silently over time have been reducing my available working weeks, slots in a week. So I'm gonna get some juice. Hang on a second. As I mentioned earlier, I'm also a father, a husband, a pet dad of Patch. I have a home, I have a motorhome, like all these wonderful things in my life that I feel truly blessed for, blessed with. They are also, things happen. Sometimes you need to go to the garage, sometimes you need something fixed in your home. Sometimes one of your kids needs your help unexpectedly. You might even have to drive up and visit your daughter over an hour and a half away. And so these things happen. And you can argue that just reducing the number of slots, like fixed booking slots you have with people is one way of doing it. What I also found was that this was after I'd been running with this kind of ideal weekly working pattern for a while, I realized that some clients were asking me for just a recorded version only. And so what I would do is I would, so I'd say hello on camera as well. Can you see me? I'm kind of in the dark. So there's always one thing, right? I can do this. Wow, I'm driving. Or like jumping around. Wow, it's really bumpy road, guys. Sorry, it's probably making you feel sick. Oh, John. Yeah, so what I felt was that I've just realized I could be doing something useful, putting my hiking boots on for today's walk. What I realized was that you just ask for the recording sometimes and you don't need to talk to me live, so I call that a remote recording session. And what that means is that when the booking slot comes up, I can start the session about that time. And what I promise is that I'll do it that day, right? But it's really cool. I actually have one today. In fact, all I have today is this, because I'm in between two training courses. Today I just have this video with Natasha, and then we may or may not sit around and have a coffee in the motorhome, head back home, and then I'll have a remote recording session for a client. And I may or may not, I'm just going to check that that's true actually, because I don't want to just sit here forever and not. I'm just checking my calendar. It says, it's scheduled at 2:00, for example. So I could get back, have my lunch a reasonable time and do it then. I could do it a bit later if I wanted to. And usually if it's going to be hours later, I'll just tell my client in advance, say, hope it's okay, because it also takes an hour to 2 hours for the recording to be processed. I'll record it on Zoom, and it gets copied to a private location. So that processing can take an hour or two sometimes. So it doesn't matter how prompt I think I'm being. I'm like, oh, come on, hurry up, I want to share this with my clients. So that's also been really, really cool. And some of you very generously said, don't worry, there's no rush for the recording. It doesn't have to happen on that day. And I'm like, well, you know what? Many of you wait for months for the booking slot to come along. So I really enjoy, servicing you as being of service as promptly as I can. And so this facial tracking on the camera is so funny. So the other thing I really enjoy with flexibility is just feeling into over time. So what I've done is, come mid-May, as I mentioned, really my pattern will focus more on a Tuesday for a live stream. So my Mondays will become a Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday are pretty much the same. And I really tried to balance, having, I'll still have in-person slots available. Once a month, I'll still do negative entity removal, soul retrieval exorcisms. I do them once a month as a way of doing it sustainably, as a sustainable pace. And that balance is all trending in beautifully in the right direction. The other things that, I've not mentioned my wife, my wonderful wife, is that she's reduced her working pattern. She used to be she used to be about 3.5 days a week. She's come down to 1.5 days a week. And so she works on a Thursday and a Friday morning. So it makes sense that I always work on a Thursday and Friday morning, right? Or because the house is empty, for one, so it means I can do all my client sessions. So tomorrow, on a Thursday, I have to do my client sessions in the house, which is great. I don't have to do them in my little airless studio. It's not airless, I just keep refreshing the air. There's no vents, because it's soundproofed. And the other thing I do is, I think this is a big tour bus that's turned up. It'd be so cool if it was like a paranormal investigation team. That'd be so cool. I would just go and interview them. Never mind the paranormal stuff. Just interview the people. So, yeah, I would do. That's the pattern I'm going into, and maybe next year I'll do less fixed sessions. Maybe I'll come up with a new service as well. And I would, things I'm also open to both ways, right? So I would do more work, more client sessions, if I was able to, more like sustain it. And there's a kind of sneak peek I've had into my future when I visited a future self version of me, and my future self has not given away the secrets, and has said to me that I do change the way I work, and it really, really lightens the load. So that's really exciting. I have no idea what it is. My intuition is it's something like the way I offer my services changes over time. So I innovate this new way. So I've, and in the last 2 years, I've innovated, blending reflexology and psychic readings, quantum energy healing, Swedish massage. I've continued to refine the quantum psychic healing sessions, had big kind of revolutions in the way I do my exorcisms and soul retrievals, negative entity removals, which definitely require less recovery time. It's still about 3 days, but it's much more sustainable. Because if I couldn't sustain that, I'd just have to stop that work completely, which I feel would be such a shame for the people that I do my best to help. And the other thing is, I'll just flip you back around. You don't need to see my face the whole time. The other thing is I invented the the heart chakra dragon fire activation session, which is my second most popular service, which is a lot of fun. It's just head you guys over here so you can see Rosalind Chapel just over to your left. It's kind of hiding behind the trees. To you, it probably just looks like that house on the left, which is also a really old historic house. Okay, so other things to take into account, and I know like some of this is just like maybe just comes across as a bit kind of self-indulgent and boring Jon content. What I really enjoy is sharing experiences with you and journeys with you, partly because it's therapeutic for me and partly because I hope that it inspires you. It's also, what I've described is very, very different to what other people do, right? And I still take holidays, so if I ever do like any kind of financial forecast, and to be honest, financial forecasts are just a waste of time. It's like, I'm psychic and I don't even bother doing that. It's just a waste. And because you're going to earn what you earn, and every time I try and forecast, I always earn more money than I forecast. And so it's kind of just a wasted effort. But if someone asked me, said, well, Jon, if you did 1 day a week, well, that's the other thing, right? So I've actually done this now for 3 months, right? So for the last 3 months, I've been updating my weekly working pattern. And I've even kind of modeled, the most extreme version of working 1 day of client sessions a week, which I'd likely do for the, I can do for the rest of my life at any age, right? Into my 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s. And so as I've reduced, okay, my weekly booking slots, the income I've received has increased. And you might think, oh, is that because you're earning more money from YouTube? No, actually, I've been earning a bit less from YouTube in the last 3 months. Donations have, your donations are very kind, and they've definitely been pretty consistent. What other revenue sources are there? I sell at a low price some of my meditations on my website. And actually, I feel the biggest change is that I used to be booked 2 to 3 months in advance, and now I'm about, what is that? So you've increased the wait time for the next available slot. So we're the 25th of March today. So let's just say that's the end of March. So that's April, May, June, July, August. So that's 5 and plus 10 days. So 5 months plus 10 days. In that period, I do have holidays. I've got vacations planned, including I'm so excited. Not very long. So in the next, is it only a couple of weeks? Oh my God. Yeah, only a couple of weeks time. I'll be going to Skye, the Isle of Skye, for an adventure for a few days. I'm so excited about that, and doing filming and more. So yeah, looking forward to that. So, and I've been able to build those things in, because one of the things I love doing is I love overnight driving, right? So I love heading out on a Thursday night after my live stream, driving overnight somewhere, kind of getting closer to the destination, and then maybe only have an hour or two the next day. And then I can, go visit the place, visit a person, whatever it is I'm doing. So I'm so excited for that. I'm just going to flip you around because it just seems unnecessary to film this wonderful gentleman who's sweeping up leaves in a very windy day. And actually, I need to get my shoes on. And we're almost at an hour, and these videos are much more difficult to upload if they go for an hour. So yeah, my suggestions are, just to recap, if you made it through this video and you find it interesting, well done you, celebrating you. The second is, always get clear in the vision, like, what do you want? That's all the universe wants to know, is what do you want? Not what other people want, not what your family want, not, I met a friend today who I hadn't seen in maybe a year, and his kids are all in their teens now, 3 kids. He's a similar age to me, maybe a bit younger, certainly looks younger. And he just said, I figure my role is just like to go to work, to pay for all the things that, my family needs. And, I can't just stand there in the street and give him like an hour lecture about, preach to him about, you should go through a spiritual awakening. It's amazing. It's like, no, I'm not sure I actually recommend going through spiritual awakenings. It feels like our souls have already chosen for us and that they are inevitable, or not, whatever our souls choose. And that there's this, I just said to him, there's an opportunity. I said, all I could say is working for myself is amazing. I get to choose what I want, when I want. And this morning I'm going up to film a YouTube video with my friend Natasha, up at Rosalind Glen, and we're just so excited. He's like, "Oh, you've got the sunshine for it." I said, "Well, I'll be thinking of you as I'm in the office." And I thought for my friend and for any of you that are watching, just be clear what you want and write it down. Writing it down makes you think about it, and you put your heart into it. Don't just say to yourself, "I just want to be happy," or "I just want to be rich," or "I just want to, be famous, or like it's not enough, right? It's not enough to go on. It's like going to a restaurant and saying, just give me food, and then being unhappy with what you get served. But it doesn't need to be all the ingredients. You don't need to know all the how. You just need a clear vision. There are some other building blocks, right? For a business especially, but clear vision, your dream life, your dream business, and then your weekly working pattern. These are some of the really strong foundations that will help you. And then finally, if you're interested, check out the Love Matrix. Love Matrix. So if you check out the Love Matrix, it's the last Heart Aligned Business Alchemy session I did by myself in the playlist. So take a look at that, and you get all the building blocks, all in 1 hour, just over an hour. You get all the building blocks of all the things you need for a successful self-love, self-care first business. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and sending my love from Scotland. Love you. Bye.